My husband said, "You don't match my lifestyle. Sometimes I'm embarrassed to introduce you." I replied, "Good to know." That weekend, he hosted a big family gathering. But when his father asked me to explain something he had been lying about for months, his fork slipped right out of his hand. I'm Natalie, 35, and 4 days ago, my husband told me I was an embarrassment to his social status. What he didn't know was that I'd already discovered the web of lies he'd been telling his family about our finances, and I was about to expose everything in front of the people whose approval he valued most. I've been married to Michael for 6 years. We met when we were both 29, got married quickly, maybe too quickly, and settled into what I thought was a decent life together. He works in pharmaceutical sales, makes good money, travels for conferences. I'm a public librarian. I love my job, love working with the community, love connecting people with books and resources. The pay isn't great, but it's stable and meaningful work. Michael's family is wealthy, not billionaire wealthy, but comfortable. His father owns a chain of dental practices. His mother comes from old money. They've always been polite to me, but there's been this underlying current of disappointment that Michael didn't marry a doctor or a lawyer or someone more suitable for their circles. About 8 months ago, Michael started acting differently. He'd make comments about my job, my clothes, my car. "Don't you want more than this? Aren't you embarrassed driving that 15-year-old Honda?" My colleagues' wives all have real careers. I tried to brush it off as stress from his job, but it kept getting worse. Last Tuesday evening, we were getting ready for bed. He was on his phone, scrolling through Instagram, looking at posts from some work event he'd attended. I was reading. Out of nowhere, he said, "You know what? I need to be honest with you." I put down my book. "Okay, you don't match my lifestyle anymore. I'm at these events with successful people, and when they ask about my wife, I have to explain that you work at a library. Do you know how that sounds? Like I married down." I didn't say anything. "I didn't realize my job was something you had to explain away," I finally said. "It's not just the job, it's everything. Your clothes are from Target. You drive a car from 2009. You don't care about networking or advancing yourself. Sometimes I'm embarrassed to introduce you." I just stared at him. "Yes, I'm sorry, but someone needs to say it. My parents ask why we're not buying a bigger house, why we don't vacation in Europe like they do. What am I supposed to tell them? That my wife is content being a librarian forever?" "You could tell them I'm happy doing work that matters," I said quietly. "You could tell them I contribute to our household. You could tell them a lot of things, but I'm guessing you haven't been telling them the truth." He looked away. "What's that supposed to mean?" "It means I wonder what you've actually been telling them about our life." "I tell them we're fine." "Right, fine." He went to sleep angry. I stayed up thinking. Something about his reaction felt off, defensive in a way that suggested I'd hit a nerve. The next morning, Wednesday, Michael left early for a work trip. He wouldn't be back until Friday. After he left, I did something I'd never done before. I logged into our joint bank account to look at the statements. We'd always kept mostly separate finances, splitting bills proportionally based on income, but we had one shared account for household expenses. What I found made my stomach drop. Over the past 8 months, Michael had been transferring significant amounts of money out of his personal account into our joint account, then immediately transferring it to a different account I didn't recognize. Thousands of dollars, multiple times. There were also cash withdrawals, large ones, $500 to $800 at a time. Always with notes like home repair or furniture for things we'd never purchased. I called the bank. After verifying my identity, they confirmed the secondary account was in Michael's name only. I couldn't access it, but they could tell me it existed. I spent Wednesday and Thursday digging. I checked credit card statements I had access to. Michael had been spending extravagantly on clothes, jewelry, dinners, at expensive restaurants, places I'd never been to with him. I found receipts in his office drawer for a designer watch that cost $3,000, for shoes that cost $800, for spa treatments and salon appointments that totaled hundreds every month. Then I found something else, a folder in his desk labeled Financial Planning. Inside were printed spreadsheets showing our combined income and assets, except the numbers were completely fabricated. He'd created documents showing that I made $95,000 annually instead of my actual $52,000, that we had $180,000 in savings instead of the actual $23,000 in our accounts, that we owned investment properties we definitely did not own. At the bottom of one page, in his handwriting, for Mom and Dad review. He'd been lying to his parents about our financial situation, pretending we were wealthier than we were. And based on the fake income attributed to me, he'd been inflating my salary to make it seem like I wasn't as much of a disappointment as he actually thought I was. Friday evening, Michael came home from his trip. I didn't mention what I'd found. I was calm, almost eerily calm. He asked what I'd been up to. Not much, I said. He seemed relieved I wasn't bringing up Tuesday's conversation. Saturday morning, he reminded me that his family was coming over for dinner that night. His parents, his brother and sister-in-law, his aunt and uncle. A big family gathering he'd been planning for weeks. Please try to make a good impression, he said. Wear the nice dress I bought you, and maybe let me do most of the talking. Sure, I said, whatever you want. I spent Saturday afternoon helping him prepare, setting the table, arranging flowers, all while knowing what was coming. Around 5, his family started arriving. His father, Tom, his mother, Patricia, his brother, Mark, with his wife, Jennifer, his Aunt Susan and Uncle Robert. Everyone was polite, friendly. Patricia complimented the house, asked how we were doing. Tom talked about golf. Mark bragged about his new promotion. Normal family gathering stuff, except I could feel Michael's tension. He kept glancing at me like he was worried I'd say something embarrassing. We sat down for dinner around 6:30. Michael had made his signature roasted chicken. There was wine. Good conversation. About halfway through the meal, Tom turned to me. Natalie, he said, smiling. Michael mentioned you've been doing some consulting work on the side. How's that going? I looked at Michael. His fork stopped moving. Consulting work? I asked. Yes, Tom said. Library consulting. Michael said you've been advising other libraries on their digital systems. Said it's been quite lucrative. Michael's face went pale. Dad, maybe we shouldn't talk about work at dinner. I'm just curious, Tom continued. Michael showed us some projections last month about your combined income, and it was impressive. He said you were making almost 6 figures with your base salary plus consulting. That's wonderful. The table went quiet. Everyone was looking at me. Michael's hand shook slightly as he picked up his wine glass. I don't do consulting, I said calmly. I work at the library. That's it. I make $52,000 a year. No side work, no consulting contracts, just my regular librarian salary. Patricia looked confused. Michael whispered, Natalie, please. Michael has been lying to you, I said. I pulled out my phone and opened the photos I'd taken of the fake financial documents. He created fake spreadsheets showing that I make $95,000 a year. He's been inflating our income, inventing assets we don't have, and presenting a completely false picture of our financial situation. Michael's fork slipped out of his hand and clattered onto his plate. Natalie, what are you doing? He said, his voice sharp with panic. I'm telling your family the truth, I said evenly, because apparently you've been embarrassed by the reality of being married to a librarian. So you invented a better version of me to show them. Tom reached for my phone. I handed it to him without hesitation. He scrolled through the photos slowly. The fake spreadsheets, the inflated income figures, the imaginary assets. Then the real bank statements I'd photographed, showing our modest savings. The receipts for Michael's excessive spending. Michael, Patricia said quietly, what is this? It's not, he swallowed hard. I can explain. Please do, Mark said, leaning forward, because this looks like you've been lying to all of us about your finances for months. Michael's eyes filled with tears. I just wanted you to see that I hadn't made a mistake marrying her. You all had opinions about Natalie not being successful enough, not making enough money, and I wanted to prove that we were doing well, that I'd made the right choice. Tom's jaw tightened. By creating fake documents and misrepresenting your wife's income? I was embarrassed, Michael said, his voice breaking. Everyone in this family is successful and wealthy, and I'm married to a librarian who drives a 2009 Honda and wears Target clothes. Do you know how that feels? So you lied to us, Patricia said. And you've been spending... How much have you been spending, Michael? I pulled up the credit card statement on my phone. About $4,000 a month on luxury items, designer clothes, expensive dinners, spa treatments, all while telling me I was an embarrassment for not being wealthier. The table erupted. Tom demanded to see more proof. Patricia asked why Michael would do this. Mark said he couldn't believe his brother would lie to the family. Jennifer sat there silently, eyes wide. Susan and Robert exchanged uncomfortable glances. Michael stood up abruptly. I'm not going to sit here and be attacked. Sit down, Tom said firmly. We're not done talking about this. You've all judged Natalie from day one, Michael shot back. Maybe if you'd just accepted her instead of always asking about her career and our finances, I wouldn't have felt like I needed to lie. That's not fair, Patricia said. We've always been polite to Natalie. If you felt pressure, that's something you should have addressed with us, not by creating an elaborate fiction. And certainly not by stealing from joint accounts, I added quietly. Everyone turned to look at me. He's been transferring money from our joint household account into a private account, I explained. Thousands of dollars over the past 8 months. Money that was supposed to go toward bills and savings. Tom stood up. Michael, is this true? Michael was sobbing now. I needed money for things. For clothes. For appearances. You don't understand the pressure of maintaining an image. Whose image? Mark snapped. Nobody asked you to maintain any image. You created this pressure yourself. The dinner ended shortly after that. Michael locked himself in our bedroom. His family left, but Tom pulled me aside before he went. Natalie, he said quietly, I owe you an apology. We never meant to make you feel inadequate. I'm ashamed that my son felt he needed to lie about your income. That reflects poorly on how we raised him. I appreciate that, I said. What are you going to do about the marriage? I honestly don't know yet, I said, but I'm not going to keep being treated like an embarrassment. After everyone left, I slept in the guest room. Michael tried to talk to me through the door around midnight, but I didn't respond. Sunday morning, he came out looking exhausted. We need to talk, he said. Okay, I'm sorry for lying to my family, for spending the money, for making you feel like you weren't enough. Do you actually think I'm not enough? I asked. Or do you just think your family thinks that? He hesitated. I don't know anymore. Maybe both. I got so caught up in trying to prove something that I lost track of what actually mattered. Which is? He shook his head. I don't know, Natalie. I really don't know. The following week was tense. Patricia called several times, wanting to talk to Michael about the financial deception. Tom apparently insisted that Michael see a therapist to address what he called compulsive lying and status anxiety. Tom also called me directly on Tuesday. Natalie, he said, I talked to a lawyer friend. If Michael has been taking money from joint accounts without your knowledge for personal use, that could be considered financial misconduct. You'd have grounds for divorce if you wanted to pursue it. I'm not there yet, I said, but thank you. I mean it when I say we never intended to make you feel less than, Tom added. You're a good woman. You contribute to society in meaningful ways. If Michael can't see that, the problem is with him, not you. Thursday evening, Michael came home with brochures for couples counseling. I made some calls, he said. I found 3 therapists who specialize in financial stress and communication. Will you at least try this with me? Why? I asked. So you can learn how to be less embarrassed by me? So I can learn why I felt I needed to impress people more than I needed to be honest with my wife. That answer surprised me enough that I agreed to try 1 session. The first therapy session was rough. The therapist, Dr. Marion, asked direct questions about our relationship dynamic. Michael admitted he'd felt pressure from his family to maintain a certain lifestyle, but also admitted that much of that pressure was self-imposed. They never told me I married wrong, he said. But I saw my brother with his lawyer wife, my cousins with their doctor spouses, and I felt like I was the disappointment, the one who married the librarian. Why is librarian an insult to you? Dr. Marion asked. It's not an insult, Michael said quickly. It's just not impressive. To whom? Dr. Marion pressed. To people who matter, Michael said, then stopped. He couldn't finish the thought. Over the next few weeks, more came out. Michael had been dealing with anxiety about his career, worried that he'd peaked and wouldn't advance further. He'd been comparing himself constantly to colleagues and family members. The expensive purchases were his way of feeling successful, of looking the part even when he didn't feel it internally. But why lie about Natalie's income specifically? Dr. Marion asked during our 3rd session. Because if she was successful too, then our life together looked like a success, Michael said. If she was just a librarian making $52,000, then what did that say about my choices? It said you married someone you loved who does meaningful work, I said. But apparently that wasn't enough for you. We're still in therapy. Michael has agreed to full financial transparency, shared access to all accounts, detailed budgeting, monthly reviews. He's also started individual therapy to address the underlying anxiety and image issues. His family has been supportive but distant. Patricia told Michael she was disappointed by the deception and needed time. Tom checks in with me regularly, which is oddly touching. It's been 3 months since that dinner party. Michael and I are still together, still in therapy, still working through things. I'm not sure if we'll make it long term. Some days are better than others. He's cut his spending dramatically. No more designer purchases. No more expensive dinners he can't afford. He sold some of the items he bought during his spending spree and returned the money to our joint account. The biggest change is that he's been honest with his family. He told them the real numbers, apologized for the deception, and asked them to stop asking about our finances altogether. Tom respected that, said it was none of their business anyway. Michael still struggles with feeling less than. Sometimes he'll see posts on social media from colleagues or family members and spiral a bit, but he's learning to catch himself, to question why external validation matters so much to him. As for me, I have learned that I can't fix someone else's insecurity about my worth. I can show up, do my work, contribute to our life together, but if that's not enough for him, if he needs me to be something different to feel proud, then this marriage isn't going to survive. I'm Natalie, 35, librarian, wife to a man who once said I was an embarrassment. We're trying to rebuild from that. Some days I think we can. Some days I'm not sure why I'm trying. But I know this. I will never again let someone make me feel inadequate for doing work I love, for living within my means, for being exactly who I am. If that's not enough for Michael, then he was never enough for me either. Edit 1. A lot of people are asking why I'm staying. Honest answer? I don't know if I am long-term. We're trying therapy and seeing if the person Michael is becoming through this process is someone I can trust and respect again. If not, I'll leave. But I wanted to at least try before walking away from 6 years. Edit 2. Yes, I talked to a lawyer early on to understand my options. I have documentation of everything in case I need it. I'm not naive about protecting myself. Edit 3. The library job is great. Actually, I got a small promotion last month, and I'm working on a digital literacy program for seniors in our community. It's rewarding work, and I'm proud of it. Anyone who thinks that's not enough can find someone else to impress.